Hello everybody and welcome back to Jester Ranks Off. Today we are looking at activities to do during lockdown. I'm not allowed to mention why we're locked down specifically, so we're going to refer to the thing that's causing the issue as CV. It is a CV. Much like a job, the CV is often the issue. You present it, you're like, yo, check out this, and they're like, it's in Comic Sans bin. Basically, what is happening right now is the Comic Sans of the illness planet thing. Anyway, boys and girls, welcome. Let's have a look at the things you can do or can't do during lockdown and where they're going to be ranked. Camping, dogging, festivals, watching football, going to gigs, going to work, using public transport, going to the pub, shaking hands, shopping, spring break, visiting grandma, walking the dogs, and staying at home. Of course, the ranks are S. Absolutely do this. A, you can do this. B, acceptable, but only if you have to. C, you shouldn't do this. And D, don't do this, you dumb moron idiot. Now, if you do any of these activities and they fall into a category you're not happy with, then maybe you should stop being an idiot. Just suggesting. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? And we're starting with camping. Camping is... It's an interesting one, really, isn't it? Because you can camp by yourself. You can piss off into the woods for the weekend and just, camp by yourself, not a problem. The problem is, if you're in the UK, I think effectively camping is illegal right now. Other countries, I'm not so sure. I am trying to think about these in a global concept rather than just British. Camping is something you definitely shouldn't do as a general rule. Right now, anyway. It's a fun activity otherwise, don't get me wrong. I've got no problem with people going camping. This isn't what this is about. This isn't a schmear campaign for camping. But if you're going camping, especially if you're going on a field, one, you're going to be outdoors way more than you should be, which is again, British people, we're supposed to be staying indoors as much as possible. And yeah, if you're going as a group or something like that, you've got a higher chance of spreading the disease within a tent and stuff like that, so be sensible. Similar issue here with dogging. Again, not usually an issue for me. I know where the hotspots are, I tend to avoid them. Dogging is an activity, so... If it's just you and a partner going out and banging in the car and coming back, one, that's an unessential journey. Probably not acceptable. But two, it's at least you're not going to get caught at the moment. I feel like this is the safest time to go dogging ever. As long as you can get to the location without the police spotting you, I think you're okay. Problem is, if you are into group dogging, again, it's close proximity to a lot of people. We're supposed to be socially distant, 2 meters apart. It's very, 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 very hard to dog 2 meters apart in my personal experience. So I would recommend not doing this. This is a don't do this, you dumb moron idiot. Festivals. Now, a lot of them have been either cancelled or postponed, at least in Britain so far. I think Glastonbury's been cancelled, Download Festival's been cancelled. The one we were looking at going to, Slam Dunk, that has been postponed to September, which I still think isn't safe. Festivals, they're not as bad as you might think, especially if they're outdoor festivals. At least you're out in the fresh air and stuff like that, and, it's not in a crowded area that has no breathing room. But the problem with festivals is you are in close proximity to a lot of people. If it's a weekend festival, you're also tying camping into festivals. So... yeah, it's another one you definitely shouldn't be doing. Please don't do this, you dumb moron idiot. Watching football. Watching football's a weird one, because, again, football... I think they've actually stopped doing football matches now. I don't think you can go to them in a lot of countries. When it first started happening, this whole CV thing, it was one of the first sports that said, right, we're going to carry on doing it, but, no crowds, basically. Wrestling was also another one. It's still doing that, and it's very weird. But watching football is a perfectly acceptable activity if you're just watching it on TV. But if you're going to a live match, that's a dumb moron idiot move. I don't think it's even possible for most countries anyway. So watching football is a D tier. Don't do this, you dumb moron idiot. Going to gigs, especially indoors, again, you're in close proximity to a lot of people. It's very hot, it's very sweaty. It's a breeding ground for just illness, really. I went to a gig in January, and I'll be honest, if that gig wasn't in January, it was in February, despite the fact I paid £56 for my ticket, plus hotel, plus travel, I don't think I'd have gone to it. It wasn't a serious thing in the UK yet in January. It was literally the end of January as well. I think start of February is when things started kicking off. Yeah, I mean, from February, I was saying I wasn't going to be going to anything. And again, if this Slam Dunk is a festival we're going to. It's one day, and it's outdoors, but I don't want to go to that either, if I'm honest. It doesn't feel safe to me, so going to a gig is even worse than that, so please don't do that, you dumb moron idiots. Going to work, this is one of those weird ones, because key workers effectively have to go into work unless you're self-isolating. I was going into work until yesterday. For some reason, we were counted as essential workers, according to my boss. I don't necessarily agree. I don't want to dox myself by saying what I do. But I'll put it this way. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a policeman. But what we do is effectively part of a supply chain which could result in NHS contracts, if that makes sense. For me personally, I don't feel like that's essential. I feel like what my partner's doing at the moment isn't essential work, yet she's still having to go to work. So, yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one. But going to work is acceptable, but only if you have to. But if you can stay at home, please stay at home. It's the most sensible thing to do right now. Using public transport. Again, tied into going to work. If you have to use public transport to go to work, fair enough, crack on. But if you're doing it just to go to the shops or something like that, then it's a dumb duty head move. Public transport is, again, largely enclosed, indoors, close spaces. Social distancing isn't exactly a simple task if it's a full bus or train. For me, it's unacceptable only if you have to again. You know, if it wasn't for the work element, I would probably put it in, you shouldn't do this, because they're still running, you can still use them. Yeah, it's acceptable, but only if you have to. Going to the pub. Again, in Britain, they have all closed down, so you can't actually go to a pub right now, unless you've got your own, which is 1, baller, and 2, fair enough, but don't invite people around. Again, this is a situation where you're going to be in close proximity to people. People are going to be serving you drinks/food. They're going to be possibly, you know, if they haven't washed their hands in between 1 or 2 plates, one person has the illness, one person doesn't. That's going to be then on that new plate, and yeah, it's one that you absolutely shouldn't do. At the same time, if you're in a country that is either recovering or still have the pubs open and have the appropriate measures in place and stuff like that, I feel like going to the pub isn't a terrible thing. You should do everything you can to support local businesses, especially. I'm not going to put it in a dumb moron idiot, but I am going to put it in you shouldn't do this. But if there's a way you can support your local, you absolutely should. Pubs are already, especially in the UK, are already massively struggling to keep up with, like, changing trends and stuff like that, so yeah, anything you can do to support a pub, do so, but try to avoid going to them. Shaking hands. I saw a chart the other day, I don't know how true this is, but shaking hands, if that's 100% chance of spreading germs, a fist bump is 90%, waving is 0.5%. Shaking hands is a very dumb moron idiot move right now. Don't shake hands with anybody. If you're going to have to, wear gloves, obviously. If you're both wearing gloves, less of a risk of transmitting germs, but for me personally, it's a don't do this, you dumb moron idiot. Shopping. I should have really broke this out into essential and non-essential shopping, but for making this easier, it's groceries. You are allowed to go out for essential goods, which are food, medicines, etc., etc. What isn't acceptable to do is clothes shopping at the moment, but we'll try and keep this to a sensible context. Shopping is something you should do as infrequently as possible. What I've started doing personally is like making sure we've got like a full freezer for at least 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then literally nipping out for all of 15-20 minutes, grabbing fresh fruit and food and stuff like that, and then coming back. You can do this, but I don't know if it should be unacceptable, but only if you have to, because realistically, you should only do it if you absolutely have to. So I think we'll leave it in B tier for now. I think that's perfectly fine there. Spring break, and I've actually taken this image from a news article I was going to reference, so that works out quite well. Somebody went to a spring break thing, and in fact, 20 cases, it might have been 26 cases, I think, came out of it of CV. Nearly said the word, not allowed to, YouTube will ban me. Don't do spring break, you idiots. It combines all the bad parts of a festival and all the parts of going to the pub. You're going to be in close proximity to people. People are spraying shit all over the place. You're going to be drunk, you're probably going to be high on drugs. Spring break is, if I could go lower than D, I would do that. It's It's a dumb idea. Do not do anything to do with spring break. If you're one of those people that are like on those videos that go, oh, F the CV, I'm just going to do what I want. You're a fucking moron. Stop it. It's not about you, it's protecting other people. Dickhead. Anyway, next up is visiting grandma. Suggested by the image, don't, she'll stab you. Visiting grandma is a very, very dumb idea right now. The most susceptible people to CV are people over 70 and people with underlying health conditions. If you're a socially aware person, you'll know that as you get older, you're more likely to develop health conditions and stuff like that. So please don't visit grandma. Try and keep your grandpa safe, and if you're not doing it for your own, please do it for other people's. The only acceptable situation visiting grandma that exists is to maybe drop off some groceries and stuff like that, and in which case, leave them outside the front door and just walk away, stay away. Waving at grandma's fine as you drive past, something like that, but please don't go into the house and visit your grandma. Just because you're not feeling ill doesn't mean you're not carrying the virus. So, visiting grandma, that can go into don't do this, you dumb moron idiot. Walking the dog. Now, the prerequisite for this is, of course, having a dog. If you don't have a dog, you can't really do this. So we're going to assume you, dear viewer, has a dog. It's one of the things you can do as a exercise. It's probably one I'd recommend, personally, because a dog will make you walk further than you probably would if you had free will and free choice. Walking the dog is a great form of exercise. Make sure you do it once a day, though, in the UK. You're allowed out once, apparently. Walking the dog is an absolutely you can do this thing. I would put it up to absolutely do this, but again, if you don't have a dog, then you can't really walk a dog, can you? So, I mean, you can walk an imaginary dog or take a yo-yo out, maybe. Your kids still have yo-yos? I have no idea what's going on anymore. What's a high school? And finally, staying at home and following the rules. You know exactly where this is going. If you can, please stay at home. I'm just going to repeat the rhetoric that is going on in Britain at the moment. Do you want once-a-day exercise? In fact, it's encouraged. If you usually work and you're in a high activity work, like I am, I'm usually running around the warehouse, driving, dropping off stuff and things like that. Make sure you're still keeping up with some kind of health exercise regime. I'm making sure I go out for like at least a 2k walk every morning just to get the blood pumping and stuff like that. If you need groceries, try to do as infrequently as possible. Maybe a Saturday evening is probably an ideal spot at the moment, because a lot of people are like, it's lunchtime on a Saturday, buy all the shit. And yeah, just make sure you're washing your hands, make sure you're not having meetings of more than 2 people. Luckily, I live with just my girlfriend and my 2 cats, so we're allowed to hang out as much as possible. I have told my cats, of course, they can't hang out with their friends. You're not supposed to be socializing with anyone outside your household group. Yeah, this tier maker video has literally just been a whole be a good boy, follow the rules video. But yeah, there we go. In the S tier, absolutely do this, stay at home. A, you can do this, you can walk the dog. Be acceptable, but only if you have to. Going to work, using public transport, and grocery shopping. C, you shouldn't do this, camping and going to the pub. And don't do this, you dumb moron idiot, dogging, festivals, watching football, going to gigs, shaking hands, spring break, and visiting grandma. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this tier maker video. It's maybe less of a funny one, but more of an informative one. If you've got any opinions, please share them below. This list was made by me, so I'm not going to pimp my own channel, but please check out tiermaker.com for more lists like this, and thank you Tiermaker once again for making these this website so we can make these silly tier lists. But for now, guys, hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see my content live, it is twitch.tv/Jestertainment. See more videos like this one, youtube.com/Jester on demand. See the rants this week, twitter.com/Jestertainment_, and support the channel in many ways. Please check out the links below. But the best way to do it is, of course, show a friend and get another set of eyes on the channel, because, the more the merrier. Boys and girls, thank you for watching, and I shall see y'all in the next one. See ya!
Goodbye.